about 25 minutes from San Jose.
Okay.
Yeah. Close to infrastructure and
Right.
away from coastal humidity and heat. It's like
That's a good-
80 degrees there, max year round.
It's 5:30, so we're gonna go ahead and go live here.
Trump drive me out.
I make it, oh yeah, 100%.
Just thinking.
Recording in progress.
My mic blocked.
Good evening. It's 5:30 and
Yeah.
we shall call the meeting of the Humboldt County Human Rights Commission to order. I have noted the people that are present. We do have a couple of absences this evening, one being Larry Miller, the other being Ellen Murphy. And I don't know about Carol, so she may still show up. A reminder that admission to the meeting is monitored by the chair. Only at appropriate times during the agenda will the public be allowed to speak or contribute to the discourse. When the public is offered this opportunity, please use the raise your hand emoji for acknowledgement. Anyone being disruptive or anybody being disruptive may be and or muted from the meeting. The first item on the agenda is the land acknowledgement. As we gather today, we acknowledge that Eureka, California is ancestral territory of the Wiyot people. We honor all indigenous people, territories, and sovereign governments that share governance within Humboldt County, California. We gather with respect and gratitude to these indigenous people. We thank and honor the indigenous caretakers of this land who continue to cherish and protect it. Their elders have instructed the young to consider the 7 generations ahead as they continue to protect the rights of the land and all the people who live on it. We encourage all to align with and follow the lead of local indigenous communities as they steward the land and protect all of its natural resources. We'll have a moment of silence. Okay. Are there any agenda adjustments for this evening? Somebody offering any? We'll move approval of the minutes of the August 7th meeting. And I have not heard from Ellen as to whether she got any input. Did you? Or something?
A couple of things.
Okay. Any other contributions to the minutes?
I think I just sent a couple spellings.
Yeah.
And I also kind of mentioned, I thought we kept repeating the interruptions in the meetings in the minutes, and I thought, well,
That's not necessary.
but yeah, I needed to just get an exercise. Yeah.
Well, then I would accept a motion for approval as amended. Rick, is there a second? Right. Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes as amended, please raise your hand. It is unanimous. We approve. Let's do it. And because we don't have Carol, I'm going to give you a treasurer's report at this time. Following that, we have no scheduled guest speaker. Look, Guy, you will get us the final confirmation
Yeah, I was
for October.
yeah, I contact her this week and we contact the assemblyman to see if either he could come or a representative or they could be on Zoom. Because they haven't gotten back to me, but I didn't feel like it was a hurry and I didn't think we're on some break, but they're back in business.
Time now. Okay,
Yeah, so.
very good. Under commission communications, we've already noted the Zoom rules. I have 2 announcements that I'd like to make. One regarding Larry Miller. He has requested a leave of absence for up to 6 months. It's not a normal process for us to do, but I would like your feedback as to whether that's an acceptable situation. His situation is this: he had triple bypass surgery. Tied in with that, he also had a stroke, and he has had some cognitive issues, but he believes he can recover from those. He wanted to resign, but given the fact that the Board of Supervisors had just renewed his term, I'm hoping that we can just give him an extended period of time to recover and return. I told him that I would keep him in the loop as far as receiving information and communications so that he doesn't lose track of where we're at. So I would entertain some comment on that.
I would like to see us do that, and not just because I think it's the right thing to do, but I think it would be a hopeful thing for Larry to
Sure.
know that we expect him to come back.
Mhm.
And I really would like to see us do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we need a motion for that.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think we just,
Well, then we'll proceed with that. The consensus being that Larry may have the 6 months off to recover and rejoin us when he's well.
Can I make one suggestion?
Sure.
You like, I could pick up the condolence cards, and maybe that meeting, and well cards. We could, send it out to them.
So I think that would be very much in order.
You out, at least they've contacted him, but it'd be probably nice that he hears.
We would like to hear. So yeah, please, if you do that, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, now we'll out to the next meeting, we'll sign it. Get it.
The second item I have has to do with Bert. Hope that you all are all available to attend the Board of Supervisors meeting on September 23rd, because Bert will be honored by the Board of Supervisors with a community commendation for many good deeds in the community. And that will be Tuesday, September 23rd. I'm not exactly sure of the time yet, but you can be safe that if you're there at 9, you won't miss anything. But I have a feeling that this will follow the consent calendar. So that should be maybe 9:30, but I can find out a more precise time for you a little bit later on. And you will be welcome to make any comments that you'd like at the time after Rex has finished his presentation.
as long as I approve them.
So that's in the morning.
Yes.
Yes, it is. You don't get to edit those minutes. So anyway, I'm very pleased that that's happening.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Congrats, Judge. There.
That's fabulous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. Oh, excuse me. Are there any comments or announcements from commissioners?
I'll mention here, I was down in Vernville, and what I found was that there's an LGBT wine map. So those wineries that are welcoming and encouraging of the LGBT community are listed here. So I'll just pass it around. You can just at least see what it looks like.
Very good. Was the weather good when you were down there?
It was very nice.
Good.
Put on the fire.
Yeah, not near us.
Okay.
Oh, that's quite a flyer. All right, next item on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items. And I do not see anybody chomping at the bit to make a comment, so.
Can I touch on that over?
Yes, sure.
We did have a gentleman last meeting that was addressing a question, and I should have brought all my notes, but unimportant really. I did sit on it for a little bit, looking him up, and I won't go into any public detail on it. but I did contact the district attorney's office. And I can tell you one thing, I'm really totally thrilled with our DA in our county. Because I've been dealing with so many public officials that just sort of give you the time of day and don't do anything. I wrote her at, I think 8 p.m. Sunday night with a question about this particular case. And, again, it's sort of like, I don't want information I'm not entitled to, but can I get any information on this case? Because we had someone come before the Human Rights Commission and had concerns. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, I get a note. And not only do I get a note, I get all the paperwork that was connected with the case that is public. I mean, I don't get everything, but whatever's public, I'm just amazed because I followed it up thanking her. And then I followed up with another question. And I said, well, if we have a future situation like this, I know your time is busy. Is there any way that I could get this information either online? And she said she wasn't sure it was online, but on the second floor above us over there, there's sort of, I guess, a little legal law library and a printer. And we should have access to be able, if we have cases, if any of us have something we're looking at, wow, we can get that kind of information. Because apparently, even though I called the guy afterwards and he said, program is a bunch of BS, but it's a military diversion program. Some of you are probably already familiar with it, but if they get in trouble with the law, apparently they can go in this diversion program. And if they stay clean for 2 years, it's in essence just probation, but then they wipe the record out as if it never happened. And that's apparently where it is. And I think he had a court date last week or something. So I didn't follow up on that, but so I just thought I'd share it. That's very cool.
That was nice to do.
I will add that I dropped by the Arcata PD after the meeting, and they were very cooperative. I don't think were aware that our name was highlighted on a complaint form that they are now, and I think they'll be a little more attentive to that in the future.
Well, it's interesting that you did that. I had a meeting with the tax committee that meets like once a year. We had a meeting just a few days ago, and I was hopeful that I was going to talk to the chief, but apparently he was gone. So one of his underlings over there, but about the policies over there. But I was amazed at just how many calls. What did he tell me? 36,000 calls they had last year in Arcata. And I said, wow. I said, that's 100 a day.
For a small community, that's a lot.
He says, but it's but he followed it up. He said, it's a safe town. I said, most of it is inconsequential. He says, we have our problems, but he says, it's just, I guess, just the way things are with people. I don't know. Yeah.
That's good. There wasn't much we could do for the gentleman, but I think it was good that we listened.
Oh yeah,
and we did follow up in our own way.
Right. Oh yeah, and I did call him. I called him back and talked with him, and because I was rather interested. It came because he presented himself exceedingly well. So I thought, well, I want to see what's up, but it seems like they're handling it pretty well, and whether he's correct in referring to the program as a lot of baloney. Hopefully it'll work out for him, and hopefully things will work out for him. So we'll see. I'm very good. Anyway, that's who wanted to comment because that was a public comment last time.
Sure. Thank you. The next item would be the Correctional Facilities Liaison Report. I don't have anything. I'm aware that you might have inherited 2 or 3 calls from a female.
Oh, you mean the most recent one?
Yes.
I have no idea who that is.
Okay.
If you're talking about the one, because you're jumping ahead right now to the best line because nobody's correctionalist.
It's not actually one of the reports, it's just, I didn't do anything with that because it hadn't been shared with me yet.
Oh, okay.
So, but I just listened to the phone calls a little while ago and it's not there.
Yeah, no, there, I couldn't find any information on the person. I didn't leave any phone number or any means for it. And the name I got, I, looked it up trying to see if I could find anything, locally, and it doesn't exist. So,
Okay, all right, well,
so I'm
we
waiting.
only work with what we're given.
Jim, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
These things I don't think I've ever quite understood in the time I've been on the board what the purpose of the line is, other than people can call in. But both CR now has a big program at Pelican Bay, and they graduated 50 students last year. And CSU Humboldt is developing a bigger program. I think sort of as we speak, and they're coordinated. And I'm wondering, since both campuses are becoming pretty big presences, not just in Pelican Bay, but also for people who are currently incarcerated anywhere in the region, and people who come out of incarceration, whether there's some link that would make sense for us since they're sort of in the middle of the flow. And that's, it's not like I have an idea. It's just I can sort of see these different things happening. There's a lot of counseling going.
Seems to me what you're going to report on later, maybe there's a connection that could be made for further outreach from the commission. Or if there's some overlapping interests.
Right.
Uh,
I guess the question would be, what are we?
what are we doing with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been on a little over a year, and we get 3 or 4 calls every couple of months, and I haven't been here where someone calling in resulted in something happening during that time. And so I'm wondering whether it's the right target or maybe there's a different way to do it. And so I was thinking maybe there's someone who can collaborate with the fact that there is really quickly growing programs.
Well, I can share with you what the others will attest to, I think, is there's very little in reality that we can do for an inmate that calls, because usually what they're interested in is getting out of jail. And that's not
I can't help with that.
no, we can't. Not legal, a legal resource for people.
Right.
And, but sometimes we stumble on an issue that maybe even the jail doesn't know,
Right.
doesn't know about, a condition that they need to be aware of. And then we can step in, but it doesn't mean that we have refined this process as
Right.
far as it can go.
Right.
And the bulk of the phone calls, those phone calls have subsided, but the bulk of the phone calls we get are not the jail. They're from outside of the community.
Right.
And those are people who may or may not have a resource. And oftentimes, the most we can do is offer a resource, right? A name, a phone number, a thought, anything. Once in a while, there's an issue big enough to make worthy of our attention.
Right.
Here in the commission. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say an example of something I found to be, because I feel that way often too. Like, I don't know if we can do anything. An example that I thought was useful was when we were getting a series of phone calls about conditions within the jail, not being conducive to people being able to have visitation from
Right.
family members and loved ones.
That was before my time.
That was
That's
before your time.
I said.
And we went on a tour and actually
Yeah.
I think our presence created some opportunity for that to get cleaned up a little bit and to have some of those issues addressed. So
That's good stuff.
I think that's one of the places where it was useful, but like,
We don't have any regularly scheduled
yeah,
visits. Of course, the grand jury does them.
Yeah,
their
because
share of that.
usually I will.
But they may be looking for a different set of circumstances than we are.
So I think they're just looking for aid if they can get it. Um, I'll share another story. It wasn't on the Human Rights Commission, but when I was down south living in Ventura County, this is about 25 years ago now, so it's been a long time. I was working for the ACLU. I mean, I still do some stuff with them, but I was working for the ACLU in Ventura County. And I got an anonymous call from the jail. So it could have been something that we could have got here on our line. A gal called me up and told me there was horrific stuff that was going on in the women's prison over there. And that thing exploded. Several people went to jail. And I couldn't do a whole lot, but I said, give me what information you have. And I was lucky because one of my teaching assignments when I was working down there was I was teaching journalism. So I had a lot of friends who worked at the newspapers that I gave the story, what I got from this anonymous caller to the LA Times. And they broke the story about 6 weeks later. And a lot of people went to jail because of it. So, there are people.
Well, these are great examples.
But I mean, people are desperate out there and they don't know. I mean, we've been giving out these cards for quite a long time, but a lot of them they just don't know. I mean, hell, if I got put in jail, this evening after I leave here, I'm not sure I knew exactly what the hell to do.
Call our number.
Call me.
For the LUF.
Yeah, I'm on the call right now.
Oh, Carol will get it.
Thankfully, the arresting officer has a mask on.
Yeah, okay.
There's one other thing. I think there have been times when someone needed to talk to someone and needed to hear that there were resources, even if they had rejected some of them, but they needed to hear that someone was listening to them and trying to help them. And I do think that is one of the benefits of the.
I agree. It isn't always that we can solve their problem, but
No, but you listen.
There's a human up there.
yeah, exactly. Even after you go through the message. All right.
Thank you.
But back to your point, if an idea for jails that maybe we might improve our system by collaborating, there's no reason why we shouldn't.
Right.
And we might just introduce other people to our work in the process. So I see that as an opportunity.
I would also say that it's another reason for our log, because I think over time you start to see patterns
Yes.
in those, which then give the opportunity for kind of larger systemic interventions, right? If somebody is always having the same reports keep coming in around the same issues, it gives us an opportunity. We can't individually intervene so much, but systemically we have the ability to do that a little bit.
And thank you again for getting on me about people filling in.
I haven't even looked, so I'm not
Because
gonna.
it's really looking much better now.
Good.
So that's very good. And it is simple to do. It's just simple to overlook too. And anyway, we're doing a much better job there. With that being said, we have message line reports. Well, obviously we won't have one from Ellen this evening, but for the 16th through the 31st, Rick, do you have?
I had one call, and actually I discussed that with you, and it was an inmate who called, did not leave a callback number or so, but the one who had basically some lead levels, and I think that you had already, he had already called in, so there was no number to call back on. I entered it into the information, but I've not heard anything more.
Right. That wasn't the first time he had called. He called about a different issue this time, but he hadn't followed through on the previous call with what he said he was going to do. So it kind of dropped at that point. We'll have to see if he calls back again. As was noted, Guy is on the phones right now through the 15th. and Carol will be on the phones from the 16th through the 30th, leaving 2 openings for October 1st through the 15th and the 16th through the 31st. Anybody available?
I can take the 16th through the 31st.
Okay. And I'll go ahead and take the 1st through the 15th. Okay. Committee reports. Sanctuary Ordinance Committee. Anything to report? Good.
No, I know they've had, meetings. Other than that, yeah, to where.
I will say that thank you for posting the event for Centro de Pueblo, but I never did get a response from them either.
Yeah, but I know I was waiting for it, and then I saw that they had stuff that was online, so I thought, well, can't hurt if they have it already online. The more places people see it.
No, I think that's good. My point though is, we need to strengthen the communication, because if we send an email offering to do something and nobody even responds back, there's a weakness there. It's either on our end or their end, or both. So if anybody has ideas about how we can strengthen our connections with that group and others, I think it would be to everybody's benefit.
That will be a question asked.
Exactly.
That is a question that will be asked in our process.
Good.
Pretty much everyone thinks Brenda needs to be there, so.
And that was who it was directed to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I am meeting, relatively regularly with Fernando, and of course we've been off, but school's back. Actually, I missed a meeting this afternoon because they had a little tea that they do over there at the college, but I had other meetings to go to, so I didn't get to that. But I go popping into his office, and so now that we're back in session, I should be able to do that.
Well, you might be able to just drop a hint that we're willing to do our part. We just don't know what they want that day.
I think they know. I mean, I'm trying to walk a tightrope as far as I'm kind of responding to the other area, but on our Facebook page, I've been posting stuff dealing with ICE and all the other stuff on there, and rapid response teams that have been set up throughout the state. And so I'm, trying not to be too political, but it's obviously an issue that is a concern. And of course, I have to kick off all the stuff on there that I don't put on there, but somebody else does. Facebook. Guys use any of that stuff? Horrible what they do all the time.
I saw where Carol just tried to join us remotely, but I may have gotten to her.
She's up there. I see her name up there.
Is she?
She just doesn't have her camera on, so it's not showing.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, Carol. Let us know if you have any thing you'd like to contribute to the dialogue.
You are on mute.
Yeah, she may just.
Okay.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, apologize. It wasn't on my radar.
Okay, that's all right. We'll forgive you.
I feel like you came past this one.
Thank you for joining us anyway, and we'll watch if you have anything you want to add to the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. There is nothing from the Rapid Response Committee except that I did write my word encouraging people to
It's right here.
join. Oh,
Nice.
community action urgently needed. Yes. Well, very good. Anyway, trying to stir people in our direction. Obviously, we need a few other active bodies so we can spread out the work and do more work. So that's very good. Thank you, Bert. Next item is the Youth Human Rights Commission.
No real report. We haven't met. We're just in the process of trying to get a meeting going now that the kids are back in school. Looks like there are 3 active members right now. And I got contacted by a professor at College of the Redwoods who has 3 students who need to do a community project. Who want to work with the youth. So, soon as I can find a meeting time, we'll bring everyone together and come up with some way for these college students to support the youth
I'll
commission.
be happy to join you whenever that
Great.
happens. Are we missing a window of opportunity or do we just have to live with what we're?
I think we just gotta live with it.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna have to, I mean, maybe that's something that the students can help with, is getting us in a solid recruitment cycle.
Right. Well, I think it's still a project that's well worth the effort.
Yeah, we just spent a lot of time building infrastructure last year, and now we need to get people in.
Right. Okay, any questions for Jamie? All right, next committee report is cultural awareness dash indigenous people. Carol, if you're listening, we have copies of the cover letter and the letter that you edited, and thank you for doing that. I would love to get this letter in distribution. It's been kicking around for a while.
Mhm.
And if you've had a chance to glance at it, we could adopt the letter and the cover letter. And with Carol's help and Ellen's help, we can get the letter distributed hopefully in the next week or so.
Okay,
All
and
right.
I have a contact where I can get they're called board support for the tribes, and then we can send it to them. If you give me, if it's approved, you give me the original, I can put in the addresses, and then you can sign them. We can print them out and sign them.
Okay, so if we approve it, all I need to do is get you an original copy and
Yeah.
you can take it from there? Or
Yes,
am I right?
yes.
Okay,
then-
well, that would be,
The follow-up would be for me to print them out so that you can sign them before we mail them.
oh, right. Okay, well, given that information, the chair would entertain a motion to approve this pair of letters so that we can take it to the next level.
So move.
Rick is so moved.
A second.
Okay. Is there a second? Jamie, okay. And is there any further discussion?
They read well, I think.
I think they do too. I think they're well written. Okay, well, all those in favor of finalizing this letter and turning it over to Carol for distribution, please indicate by raising your hand.
Oh,
It's unanimous. Okay, Carol, I'll get this to you in the next day or two.
okay,
Is it best if I just drop it by your house?
yes. And to let you know, I'm leaving on Sunday and I won't be back until the following Friday. I'm heading out to a national health
Okay,
conference.
well, I will get it to you before you leave on Sunday.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks again for your work on this.
Okay.
Okay. Homelessness and behavioral health committee.
Oh, you jumped on all the others, huh? Or did we do that?
Oh, how did I do that? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, the next one's yours anyway. Technology.
Well, I already mentioned it. Yeah, Facebook is doing fine. I mean, it's just as good as it gets. I mean, we have about I think 1,000 followers on it. And
That's definitely increased.
yeah, well, I think a lot of it, like I said, is related to ICE and the concerns over that. But anything else that, you guys could send to me, like I said, the only thing like I said, I got 30-page document from the county on what we can or cannot do. And I just try to use common sense and not do anything that's gonna tick them all off, to say, you know, you crossed the line over here, right? So,
Okay, well, good. The next report, excuse me, would then be constructive conversations. Rick?
Okay, just real briefly, we will be having a forum on October 22nd at the Humboldt Area Foundation. And I've got a flyer. Jamie has been a real miracle worker for helping us put this flyer together. I'll just pass it around so you can take a look at what it looks like. But we've got basically the four panelists or the four contributors. Natalie Arroyo, who's the supervisor, of course. Robert Black, who is the city attorney for the city of Eureka. Amy Nelson, who's the city manager for Fortuna, and then Sarah Schaefer, who's a council member for the city of Arcadia. And they'll be talking about conversations, how to deal with difficult issues, difficult topics. And I think it's really so pertinent in our community in this particular day. So I'm really pleased to have that. It's Mary Jelinas who will be leading that, and welcome any and all of you who might be interested to consider participating, attending, and adding your voices also to the whole project. But again, it's a good committee, and Jamie, who's not on the committee, has really come in and done some major work, and we're really very grateful for her contributions as well. Having mentioned that, I think I just want to raise the question. We're holding it at the Humboldt Area Foundation. We have also in the past considered, are there alternative sites where we might have the Human Rights Commission meeting? And I don't know if that would be a possible forum. It might be a little safer for some people to attend, say, the Humboldt Area Foundation rather than the courthouse. And I thought I would just throw that idea out. I don't know what their evening programs are or how flexible they are for having, say, a once a month meeting. But I'm looking at you, Peter, obviously, because you have a little more experience with them.
So currently, their policy is it's not open to the public book. And there's a substantial number of community members appealing to them to change that. So we'll see if it changes in the new CEO.
I think she's much more interested in getting the community more involved again. But there is that restriction of when they can have meetings start because of the traffic. You remember that?
Yeah.
Something about it couldn't start at 5, it had to start at 4:45 or
Well, I received this message.
Of the intersection.
yeah, well, that's even worse now, but it was when it was first built, they said there was that restriction, and I guess it's still in there because Mary mentioned that. She said we couldn't start at 5, but we could start at 4:45.
5:15, it's not like it's a big deal.
I have a message from Kathy.
Kathy Johansson, yeah.
Right, and this was the first request they've received that's around the conditional use permit, traffic conditions between 5 and 6 p.m. 4 p.m. is perfect, she said. Let me know if you have any questions. So this was actually a first request of them. So maybe we have broken the ice in a sense and could check into it further as we move down the road.
Yeah, they have to make a policy decision.
Yeah, well, I think there are changes coming now
Let's hope.
because of Sarah Drawbridge.
Maybe.
Well, I've talked quite a bit to Sarah.
Another college too. We'll see what day it is.
Yeah, we'll see if the board.
Having an inside discussion.
We are.
Sorry,
Hey, Rick,
I would like to
send me a
ask,
JPEG of the poster.
Can I just send you a
JPEG.
tape pen?
JPEG.
JPEG, okay?
Because then I can,
Can I send you a PDF? I'm not sure.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I can put it on.
Good, yes, sir.
I have a question for Jamie. You sent us all those great links, but we don't have the Venmo yet. When you get that, will the link still be the same?
Mhm.
You'll make the adjustment in the link, but it will.
Yeah, the link will still.
And so then you will let us know when it's final to send out to people, because I plan to send that to a lot of people I know. And if you want, I will blind copy you, Jim, Rick, so you know who I'm sending them to. If you want me to do that, I'd like to see it. Okay, because I have several people who I've talked to about, they've already said they would like to know more about it. So I send them the links and they
Great. I have tentatively, I'm hopeful that we'll just have the Venmo account this Friday.
I'm meeting with Julie tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so I have a scheduled email to go out to NORCAN on Monday morning, just as soon as I figured I'd give us a little bit of wiggle room on the weekend.
Great.
And
And then
things
you'll let
get
us
then
know when-
mailboxes on
We
Fridays.
can just go ahead and send it out.
Yeah, and
Great.
you're CC'd on it, so
Oh, great.
when you guys get, the whole commission is, so when you see that go out, you'll know that you can just forward that email. It's got all the information in it, and you'll know it went to Markham.
Great. And just so everybody knows, you didn't mention, Rick, that our goal is to have about 50 people.
Yes, that's approximately what we're
So
looking for.
if you know of people that would love to participate outside of yourselves, let us know.
Mhm.
Okay, it sounds like we're moving along well on that.
I think it's coming along very nicely. I'm really pleased with the progress that we've made and are making.
Good. Okay. The next item would be community outreach and engagement. With Peter, you've got some materials for us.
Yeah, around this whole packet. Jim and Bird have already seen it. So this is what we intend to send out to people who were invited to participate in it. Well, if you have any comments about the way it's described, the purpose of the commission is, please give them to me as soon as you can. Then there's a list of people who've been nominated so far. And so, if people are, do you want a minute to read the cover? I guess. Come on, refresh.
I thought it looked really good.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Want to know your names.
yeah, not a surprise. Ron really thought about it a lot, sending a group that everyone thinks that directing needs to be the collective thinking about. When you do that, Bert had suggested it should happen in September, and I'm not getting into September, and I'm gone in October, the whole month I'm gone. I think we're not looking for November. Yeah, it's so far everyone I've talked to though is enthusiastic about it. And now people are talking to other people, so it's beginning to pick up some steam. And people tend to know each other, right? But I think we'll have a good group, and possibly a bigger group, maybe even two groups, and we'll see what comes out of it. I think the thing that we need, or at least I need to understand better, is when the Brown Act means certain things can and can't happen. Okay? And when people use what are the creative uses of it that allow for public engagement without crossing the lines? So if people want to use the commission more, want to appear here more, have more impact on the discussion, how do you arrange it so that's possible? And so I think looking for examples. That's sort of the use of commissions under the Brown Act around public engagement is something I would like to do. And it might have already happened here. People have examples, people working with this.
Are we going to be meeting again before you are gone for the 10th of October?
We don't have to, I mean, we schedule now, there's probably a good idea.
Let's let me know when it's convenient.
That month,
My bird has lots of free time, so.
people are doing anything. Right? I ain't gonna afford to supervise me getting awards. But yeah, so if you think of people you'd like to see on this list, or like, please get names to us. I think it's a great list. Suggest sort of.
Notice Brenda Perez is on everybody's list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In fact, there's one list she's not on this group, but put her down. And I talked a little bit to Brenda about other things. I just haven't talked to her about this. The one thing we talked briefly about is whether we can give a small stipend to the facilitator. And you wanted to bring that up here, so.
What did you have? Do you want to make a proposal that we can discuss?
Yeah, that we pay Monticello basically the next generation, Mary Jelena's 2 generations down, $200 to facilitate the meetings. By the way, I've not said anything to her. I think that's what the way
You just did.
Oh,
Only 2 hours.
So maybe 3 or 4 people.
yeah.
How do we feel about doing that
This is Carol.
versus too soon?
That seems,
Hello,
I
can
think
you hear me?
we have money.
Go ahead, Carol.
I was gonna say, I believe $200 is reasonable. And I know that when the other organization I'm with, that is almost a basic rate.
Okay. All right, well then, do we have a motion to? Leave that stipend.
I keep moving, but I'll move once more.
Do it again.
I'll second it.
In a second. Oh, really?
Well, I have doubts about it, but I think that's a good thing to do. So, right, I think that's.
Yeah, I think it's a step for us that we need to take.
Yeah, young person of color stepping into that type of role seems appropriate. So thank you all.
Okay, well, we haven't voted.
Have a motion.
Oh, yeah.
All those in favor of approving the stipend of $200, please indicate by raising your hand.
I raised my hand.
Unanimous?
I raised my hand.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Technically, however, I appreciate your vote, but technically, you can't vote from
Yeah.
on Zoom. That's one of the things we need to get changed. So we'll get it changed at some point, but
Can live in spirit.
anyway,
No.
we appreciate your vote.
And thank you for reminding me.
It's okay. All right.
By the way, one of the hopes I have is that this will be a way to recruit people onto the commission.
We need that.
And get people involved and do a hard sell as part of this process. So,
I wonder if it might be a good idea to suggest to the facilitator that this would be a good place for her to be, to join the commission as well.
yeah, her boyfriend's in Orleans and she's living half the time here and half the time in Orleans.
Well, as long as the first of the month,
Right here. I'll run it by her. She's
That would be,
amazing. So,
and that would really get us started in this, and
right.
the contact would be good. She would be at our meetings and know what we're doing. I think it'd be really an excellent thing if she could.
Okay, pass that one.
any questions for Peter?
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you very much. And let me know about a meeting date.
Okay.
Could I just make a
Yes.
comment? Because it doesn't seem that people understand this, but when you're making a report and you have something that you want to vote on, you should make that motion.
Okay.
That's the motion. And then somebody else seconds it. That's the way it usually works, because you're the one who knows exactly what you want to have happen. My little soapbox, sorry.
That's why we're meeting on the 23rd. One of the reasons. Okay.
You could redo it. You could withdraw and I could.
No, let's not. Let's not. Okay, moving right along. Now, homelessness center.
So I think the only thing I have on that is, no over here. And, trying to figure out what's going on, because, we got a message from, the supervisor. So let me back to reading it again to you guys. It was amazing. We do contact occasionally, but I got a letter from Mike saying, yeah, there's been, there has not been a response from the board regarding homelessness, and they haven't received the other letters, which we're in the process of submitting to them here shortly. So I don't know much more what we can do other than my other suggestion. I think at the last meeting I mentioned Senate Bill 634, and I sent everybody that information, and I would maybe hope that we could also ask the board at least to support that measure. You know, that was the one that would criminalize people who were parking on the street, that essentially prohibiting from being anywhere. And I think I mentioned, or maybe I didn't, I don't know, because it's in the assembly right now. It passed the Senate. So it's moving through, and I think our local assemblyman may be supporting it. I'm not sure. I don't know if I put it on there. Yeah, I don't have any word whether he's supporting it. I know McGuire did in the Senate and pushed it through. But that's the only thing I can think of right now to mention. The only other thing I can tell you on the homeless front is I did go by, Old Town, and I'd really like to know what the heck's going on, because if any of you that have been on 2nd and 3rd Street between A and Commercial and C Street know that along with the rescue mission over there, it was like tent city everywhere. And about a month or so ago, around a month ago, things started cleaning up and just everybody largely disappeared. I was there yesterday, and I saw a few coming back, but I don't know what went on, whether there was some sweep and they got all told to leave, and now some of them are trickling back in. I don't know. I know that, they have the MIST program, and they're trying to do stuff, and I know Betty Chin has the housing, and it's right there that apparently they are housing a few more people over there, but it still doesn't account for why so many people suddenly disappear. So I don't know. And I don't know whether the board's talking about that at all.
I haven't heard.
Yeah. One suggestion, which I'm afraid,
That would be City of Eureka anyway.
yeah, that's true. But, and that does bring up another point with the City of Eureka, because we had the speakers last time talking about the oversight committee. And I don't know if any of you went over there. It's not the easiest thing to go through. I did finally find at least one of the reports. I can't say I was totally impressed. The one I was most interested in was the one dealing with Eureka PD at the college, because I was familiar with it. So I wanted to see how the report read. And most of it, I thought it was pretty good, but some of it I thought, I don't know where they got some of their facts, because they didn't jive with what I saw and what's on all the video that you could find online. But that's an aside over there. But one of the proposals I have to consider maybe for us is, I think you're probably the closest thing we have to a regular presence at the Board of Supervisors meeting. Sort of. But I mean, I'm just thinking maybe we need to become kind of a more regular agenda item or something to at least, if nothing else, present it. So at least maybe it gets presented in the news, because I noticed when Lost Coast or some of the places, indicate what our meetings are taking place, I never see our meeting announced. They talk about planning commission and the board meetings. And I even sent a note to them and said, hey, can you put us on? We're on, the first Thursday, and it's never there. It's never posted. At least I've never seen it.
I usually share that information with Time Standard.
Mm-hmm.
And
Standard has it.
Yeah, but they
It's
don't.
always there.
who?
Time Standard
Yeah.
always has it.
And Access Humboldt.
But I never see it on any of our online sources.
Lost Coast, I have done it, but it depends on what their deadline is.
Okay.
And I sometimes don't have
Yeah.
the agenda ready too far in advance. Maybe I'm missing their,
Okay.
well, this wouldn't hurt me to talk to them, would it?
Yeah, but do we need to have the agenda for it just to be a standing calendar event? Right, like,
I wouldn't think
or just
so.
to be like the first Thursday of the month?
Is that all that everybody else is doing? Is
Yeah,
showing,
yeah, I
they're
think,
not showing what's going to be discussed.
no, I don't think so. And then it like refers, people will go to their website or,
Well, that can be fixed. Sure. Hi.
Guy, that's okay. You can call me whatever you want. I'm wondering, do you have any contact with the nonprofits around here that are working with homelessness and so forth? And I'm asking this because in one of my facilitating situations, it was brought up that they would like to see more collaboration between all of them. I'm wondering if that might be something that our committee here could facilitate by finding out who's doing all this work and suggesting that they work together instead of, reinventing the wheel all the time. Is that anything that is a
Okay, we could try. I mean, if you recall, it's been, I'm afraid to say it, but probably like 3 years or something ago, we had that meeting, and I think we sent a letter out to the board about the idea. And it was a little discussion about, I think I ruffled some feathers. I think I referred to it as a, homelessness czar. And I said, because for exactly what you're talking about is you have all these different organizations, they're dealing with all kinds of grants that come and go and whatever. And yeah, it seems like it's a problem, but I think without getting board support, I don't know where it's going to go, because we met, I think, a couple times, and the first meeting was pretty good. It was about 20 people that showed up. It was a Zoom meeting. The second one wasn't as well. And and then since then we haven't done it. But yeah, I know I have a lot of the people, and I've talked to a lot of the people, and I think they all say the same thing, but it's my concern because, you see me with my little OES hat, and I couldn't volunteer with them. And I always tell people, and laughingly, because when I say it, I wait to see their reaction first. I say I'm part of the animal division, and I've been waiting to see if they're going to react, thinking that I'm being rude. And I said, no, dealing with the four-legged characters, that when there's a fire or earthquake or whatever, we're supposed to be part of the rescue of it. And this is the same issue we're having in that situation, is that there's a dozen different organizations, and they all do nice things. I'm not denying it, but they need more coordination to really benefit the four-legged critters, let alone the two-legged critters that we're struggling with right now. And I don't know. I mean, I keep hearing, the different stories in the news, the legislation that our beloved governor passed, and how it's not necessarily working the way he said it was going to work. And now that we have budget cutbacks and whatever, that the money is not going to be there. And, they tell us the health department has cut, I don't know how many dozens of jobs or whatever. So I'm not sure what we could do. But yeah, I think it's a good idea that we pool our resources instead of having everybody.
It seems like
in different
and
directions.
all the energy, the passion and the energy that's going into a lot of these nonprofits, if they could be working together, I think it would be.
Individually, it's got to be very discouraging to make almost no headway, but
Mhm.
as a group, there might be a different look.
Mhm.
Do you know about them?
Yeah,
Does that not do what? So there's Humboldt County has a housing and homelessness coalition, which lists a bunch of nonprofits,
right.
partnership is involved.
Just trying to remember whether they actually.
And they meet Arcata House, Eureka Vets, Food for People,
Right.
Housing Humboldt, NORCAP, Nation's Finest Open Door, Redwood Community Action Agency. It seems like there's a lot of people in there, and they have some meeting dates down.
What's the name of the organization here?
The Humboldt Housing and Homelessness Coalition. Sorry, that's hard for me to say. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how active they are. I know I get their emails. That's why I was like, when you were mentioning it, I know they send out emails.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if they have any meetings, because I don't recall seeing
have
any of
email.
any of the minutes or anything of what they're doing.
Agendas and minutes.
Because that was one of
September 4th, they met. Is that tomorrow? Today.
Oh, they're here today.
That
Yeah.
was today at 12:40. Yeah, it's on the county website.
Well, where do they meet?
Oh, you're challenging. Yeah,
you weren't reading.
I know. I don't know if I can see.
It's Zoom.
Is Zoom, yeah.
Okay.
It's 9 to 11 Thursday.
Okay.
Look like today they had couple provider presentations. That's all we did.
Well, to be continued.
Okay. I'm over here with that with them, but that's what I did. Like, yeah. Right. So,
Or even HR voices as part of that.
And I will revisit the letter that we sent to the Board of Supervisors and drop in at the next meeting and ask them, how's it going?
yeah, you might you might mention, I'll send a note if it's okay with the rest of you on this SB 634 to Wilson. Because I mean, they don't have any say so over it. It's just that it would be nice if some of our county governments would actually support it, right? And maybe that's something also that we can push, because they can't know everything.
Well, and I think possibly if the Human Rights Commission was able to do something to pull them together or to encourage that, it might help in the turf business, so many, this is my turf and this is what I'm doing. And I think that's one of the things that gets in the way of a lot of the collaboration that we really need. And I know. I do a lot of work with them. So, but I think it possibly with a recommendation coming from us, it might make a difference in the way the community anyway sees what's happening.
One thought about it. A while ago, you talked about, if I remember right, about pushing the county to focus on actually a solution, as opposed to having money go out all the time and nothing really changing over time. Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah. Well, and that's the LA Times has been covering stories and talking about audits and just saying there's money going all over the place and nobody knows what it's been doing.
Right. Where I was going with that is that I think if we could push towards a reasonable solution, right? The solution's the wrong word, but a course of action and on the policy level, so that if you can make progress, the organizations have to get behind it and work together. I think that's a better way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think trying to get folks, I think that the turf issues, particularly in the homelessness community.
Yeah, because they're all competing with the same grants and the same.
Well, and they treat each other horribly.
Yes.
Right. So it's it on almost every level, it's hard to go forward. And I think a policy approach to it that provides a front to the boat. You can get on the boat or not, but here's the boat. It will be a way to get people So I'm endorsing your earlier idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I thought, why I thought the idea of I got that term, the czar, because when we were much younger, we had a guy named Ford as our president and had the oil crisis, and they appointed an energy czar to try to get things together so that we could recover from the crisis that we were having in the 70s. And I'm thinking, this is what we need over here, but I don't know how much pull we can have, because if that's the one thing I was talking with Jim before our meeting convened, I said, the problem I have so often is using another 70s term. I get stonewalled every time I talk to some of these people. They're all friendly and whatever. That's why I'm amazed with our DA, because I got responses, I got details, I got what I asked for orally, and I got, and back to your other comment, I actually exist. I got a response. I get these other people, and it's like a week goes by, 2 weeks goes by. I send a gentle reminder, and they're just stonewalling. They don't respond.
So you had the right idea to begin with. And we have a system that's incredibly adept at making sure things don't go forward. So the first strategy is how to break through that wall.
Right.
Right. And not to abandon that you're on the right track, but to figure out how to get through the resistance. And I think there's ways to do that.
Okay.
It takes concentrated effort. I think it would mean the commission placing this at a higher priority than other things, so we'll have the concentrated effort. But I think that would be a marvelous use of the commission.
This is one of the reasons why I mentioned, and I know that we don't have a lot to say all the time, but I just think maybe we need to be in front of the board, offering to involve, just like what we did a few years back. We finally got a line item on the budget, even though right now there's no money. But it's like what I remember telling Wilson at the time. I said, just so we know we exist, you can give us a zero because you can't afford us, but at least the next time you get a budget, you sit there and say, all right, we got some money. All right, look at that. We haven't given them any money, but they're there. If they don't see us, we don't exist. So maybe we need to show up more often and harass them, on some of it. The problem I'm concerned with is, I know I can go over and do it as an individual commissioner, but I know it's going to be much more powerful if, as a commission, we say, okay, we support this, and then we go there and say, this is what our commission, because apparently sending them letters doesn't do us a whole hell of a lot of good. They basically ignore the letters. So we can be there, maybe embarrassment works a little bit, especially if the press covers all those meetings. So maybe if we embarrass them like some people did to RFK today in Washington, maybe something will come of it. I'm not too sure these days, because it seems nobody.
Embarrassment is the way we operate as a country.
We'll just get disbanded.
Well, that's true.
Well, formula is
Fake news too.
That wasn't.
It might be worth having like a strategy, like a committee, just to talk about strategy on that issue.
But I do know that, that was the issue though, with the homelessness before, was that everybody had their turf. It reminds me, like with education, which they still promote the charter schools, and you go, oh yeah, we only accept this niche of people. And when I was dealing with the homeless, they said, that's what I was running into, that this group only takes this group. They won't touch anybody else. And they go, well, that's fine and dandy, but your own statistics say there's 2,000 people on the street and you're only dealing with 50. So that's not doing a whole hell of a lot to solve our problem over here. But anyway, I like it.
well, I'll formulate a presentation to the board.
Okay.
My earliest. Okay. Under unfinished business, we do have, I included in the agenda, in the body of the agenda, some language that we could consider sending to the Board of Supervisors for their support relative to the Brown Act. And I'd like whatever input you'd like to share on that. it's obviously an issue that is difficult for us because there are times when we have a member that's present and active but can't vote. There are limits to how many times a commissioner can be absent. And being on Zoom won't count. And there's just a lot of issues relevant to it. So I'd like whatever input you might want to make and tell me what steps forward we need to take.
It's okay. I'll just mention again, Jim's posted the actual code there. That's kind of beginning about a third way down. Chapter 9 meetings and 549532, the code in California government. And again, I've had conversations with some of our state people, but of course, again, I'm just an individual and, you know, they kind of shine you on. I figure if we can get the Board of Supervisors, because it doesn't cost them anything and it's not taking away anything from their power or whatever, it's just asking them that we, if you go back to the top there where it says on recommendation improvement to aid rural counties, it's just an addition to the code over there that on page 1, section C3A, to add this exception written into the code that allows teleconferencing for all meetings for unpaid county commissioners or commissions where travel distance / time is in excess of 50 miles or 1 hour. So it's not a major change. I don't know if any of you guys can think of other things that you'd want to change on it, but I just thought that would be one way that we could certainly address the problems we have here in Humboldt County and still, I guess, live up to the rest of the Brown Act that we're not trying to do. I mean, we're, again, unpaid commissioners. I don't even understand why we're impacted by it, to be quite honest, but.
How far is 50 miles? I'm just wondering.
What's that?
I'm just wondering how far 50 miles gets us.
Sargville is more than 50
Where's-
miles.
That's about it, though, right? Denverville's less.
Well, but that's the reason why I said 50 miles for 1 hour, because
Oh, 1 hour, okay.
Willow Creek is like officially 30 odd miles as a crow flies.
It takes longer.
Right, that's what I was getting at. I missed the 1 hour.
Yeah, I thought of it too, but it's just that,
Because I think we want people from Willow Creek as well as Garberville, and I don't think Willow Creek is 50 miles, but certainly.
Or Hoopa.
yeah,
Yeah,
Might be.
yeah,
Orleans.
yeah. But,
Hoopa is over an
but
hour.
the idea, that's why I put the miles and or the, 1 hour, because I have to figure if you're dealing with state government, they're going to want something like that, because obviously I'm thinking of Humboldt, but there's a lot of these rural communities. And quite frankly, that's one of the conversations I had with McGuire's office. I said, you liberal Democrats on the coast get a lot of criticism from rural districts. Well, this is one of the things you could address. It wouldn't cost you anything. And it would certainly indicate that you're paying attention to some of the concerns they have, that, we're not being heard because we can't get to these meetings and you won't even allow us to participate in government because, in order to do that, I've got to travel on a Thursday night, 2 hours to go to some dumb meeting.
Go through rain and snow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And quite different than our history. But many of those communities like Tequan are about to have fiber to the home, whereas you don't if you're in Arcata.
Correct.
Right. So equity in action.
I really like the suggestion that you have. I think I would like to see us make that recommendation to the board to,
Well, would it be the entire
no, to
text here, or what are we proposing?
add the exemption
Just this
up under unfinished business.
recommended improvements down to.
Oh, I see.
Add an exception written into the code.
Just that little bit, over there, just adding it,
I don't know where you add it, but figure out where you want to put it, but I think it's a really good suggestion, and I think it's for justification, we might be able to fill our, our commission. Yeah. If we were allowed to have people who could actually participate and vote.
Well, where would that
It's there, it says right there,
H1,
section C3A. So if you go to the next page, it's bolded
C3
where it talks about the provisions to,
of this subdivision?
yeah.
So it would be added to that?
Yeah, as an exception for rural communities.
Okay.
And I think it should say, to allow teleconferencing with, the privilege of voting and being counted up at the quorum. Because that was taken away, even, for the 2 times they could do it during the month, during the year.
Would someone like to take this on as a project or do we need to wait another month to endorse this? With somebody proposed language that we could present to the board?
Well, I think you've got the language.
I think we're okay with that.
Well, you need to make it match the way this is doing, and I'm not sure that 3A is, that's saying the times they can do it. I would think we would want a separate section. Maybe, I don't know. But it should be a separate section with its own sentence, a number and everything.
We'll go under 3. It makes sense to go under 3, but maybe it's like 3C or whatever. I don't know what the. I'd have to look at the whole thing.
What do you think? You're the one.
Yeah, I just frequently just add it right there. I didn't put in an extra initial in there. Because if you look at on the second page there where it's under C, the members shall participate through both audio and visual technology. Then there's 3A. Let me see if there's anything on here. It says members shall participate in meetings legislated by solely by shall not. And then what we could add is an exception to that right there.
Yes,
Right in that very first,
yeah.
right in that very first thing, there shall not serve.
A, B, C. So
Except,
make it D and say.
No, I think what Guy's saying, I hear that. What Guy's saying is where 3A says the provisions of this subdivision shall not serve as means for any member of legislative body to participate in meetings of a legislative body solely by teleconference from a remote location, except when I don't know, except for unpaid members of unpaid county commissions where travel distance time is in excess of 50 miles an hour. I hate writing policy.
Well, then I think it should come after A, 3 I's, and say
just put it,
its own, an exception to this
so IV,
should be provided.
so put an IV there. Put an IV there instead where the 3 I's are, where it says meetings.
No, I would make it stand out.
Make it stand
I
out.
would say that would be B,
3B.
3B, and then the others, B then would become C, because you want it to stand out and be something that this is an exception and it's an important one.
Mhm.
Well, Guy, would you be willing to pull this together into
Okay,
some readable language and.
so
So
I think I have it over there, but I will add, but I mean, can we approve that? Just that language is there, and then I also add,
Yes, I would say an exception to 3A would be this.
okay,
um,
I'll add exception to 3A and then that language, but you also mentioned to add the ability to vote
Yes, and to be counted in the quorum.
as part of the form.
and then add ability to vote. And G part of the core. Okay, so if I can get that, then I'll put that in and then I can send it to them.
I will move the adoption of that language, and as a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors.
Okay,
That's what we're doing this with, right?
Right,
yes,
And asking them to
so endorse.
endorse it and send it off to the state? Okay.
Okay, is there a second? Here. And is there further discussion? Good work. I think this is a
I think it's great.
long overdue, but very important thing we're doing. Whether, how far it goes, I don't know. But
well,
anyway, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Carol, how are you voting?
I thought I couldn't vote.
Well, you can vote for us.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. See, that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
What would you vote?
How would you vote if you could vote?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you for. All right, well, then I thank you for, taking that
Yeah,
on.
I think this is great that you did that. I thank you very much.
well, like I said, every time I do these guys, it's always, if you're a single person, just sort of ignore you. So I figured we're a county commission, we're impacted by it. We can talk about a change, we can present it to the board, if the board would be so inclined, which, like I said, can't really hurt them to support it. That'll give it a little more effect.
I don't need another vote.
The state that decides to change it, who knows? If no chance being Costa Rica.
Well, the next item on the agenda is new business. And it's another piece of legislation, and I think that, I think you're gonna be in the driver's seat here as well. AB 715.
Oh, well, that was just, again, that was the education one. I didn't know whether, hopefully everybody got what I sent you. I sent you the link to the legislative link. That's just to remind you, so I have to remind myself to my notes, that's the education equity. And right now, it's not going anywhere from what I understand. It passed, I think I told you, it passed the assembly overwhelmingly. But then it ran into a big roadblock in the state Senate because I think they figured it, they needed to slow down because they were going to create a office of an anti-Semitic coordinator or whatever. And beside the fact that we don't have the money for all this kind of stuff, and supposedly right now, I don't see that we have the need, that there's already ed codes, all kinds of things that are out there. And so I'm hoping again that McGuire will keep it from passing in the state Senate, because at this point, I know his office pulled it. So
really, there's not much we should.
well, I still think it would. I would like to get our support, to essentially push against AB 715, and also present that to the county board. But again, it's it may not be something they want to touch. They may do the same thing like they did with the homelessness letter. They got it. Thank you. It went to the circular file. That's it. But I would hope maybe if we start doing this, Peter's making a point. I think if we keep nudging them a little bit, maybe if nothing else, will embarrass them that they have to start responding to some of the stuff that as a commission we're saying, hey, you guys ought to support this, or you should be opposed to this, or whatever. Let them earn their money. They make some pretty good money over there as maybe not as good as Los Angeles supervisors, but they make good money.
Are we in a position to do anything this evening, or do we need more time to consider this? Maybe by the next meeting, everybody would have a chance to be better informed.
We got talked about it at the last meeting. Seems
A little bit, and then I sent you guys the legislation so that you could actually look.
it's pretty straightforward.
Because it gave you all the language, it gave you, I don't think there were too many amendments that had been made to it. As I said, at this point, it hasn't gone anywhere. But I do know that, my biggest concern over it was just the fact that they were directing it specifically at one faith, and then they talking about, they try to cover it up saying it's, religious freedom, whatever, but then they're telling me that there's an anti-Semitic coordinator they're setting up. So obviously that's cover for it. And I'm not very pleased. Where government's supposed to stay out of that business. Right.
If I'm reading the room correctly, I think probably we need to put this over as an unfinished item and ask everybody to read the material and formulate an opinion about where we go from here.
Okay. I can also send you an update, see if anything's changed.
Okay.
Now that they're back in session, whether it's been buried for good or buried for another year, or what's happening around it, because it may be superfluous too. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that for tonight. Item 14 is future agenda items. Are there any items we haven't talked about that we need to put on the next agenda? There's also time between meetings to reach out to me if you have an idea or an issue that comes up. That being said,
I would just like to say one thing.
sure, go ahead.
Unfortunately, what you sent out for the agenda, I never was able to access.
Yeah, I couldn't open it either.
It was an HTML thing. I thought it was just me because I
I
was
wasn't aware there was a problem.
I sent you an email saying I couldn't open it.
Yeah,
When you first sent it out,
I did too.
I'm sorry.
and I know I've had so many computer problems in the last month that I just thought it was probably me. But if other people,
I thought it was me too.
well, for me, it just works if you send me an attachment and I can open the attachment. That's the way this old lady works.
So when I'm sharing an item, that's when it does not work.
Apparently, the way you did it for this one just didn't work for me.
Yeah, this one just sent out. It wasn't a complete file, so it wouldn't open up.
And I apologize for that. I didn't realize, I should have realized it, but I didn't. Okay, well, we'll do it a different way next time. Okay, before I blunder any further,
You're doing amazing.
Don't say that. You're doing a great job, Jim.
is there anything else that needs to come before the commission this evening? If not, would somebody like to move that we adjourn?
I so move. I'll see you all in November.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.